The world didn't end in 2012. Did you notice? Hi, I'm Ray of Sunshine. Glad to have you with me here today. If you saw my last video, you got a little bit of an introduction about the people in my life and some of the things that I'm all about. If you weren't with me, I'm going to give you a quick little view. We're in my sanctuary right now, and I'm going to continue with my introductions because getting to know me is a way for you to decide if you're going to be staying with me or not, and I hope you do. So I'm going to take in a little tour of another section of my sanctuary here, and we'll be talking about some of the things that I'll be talking about over the course of this series, and you can get to determine if you resonate with any of that. So stick with me for a while, and you get a gist of the kind of things that are on my mind. And, you know, the idea is to put them on your mind because the goal right now for this planet is moving up to a higher consciousness, you know, that new world energy that everybody's talking about. And so, you know, I'm up for that. That's some of the stuff I'll be talking about as well. But what did happen in 2012 is that the world as we know it came to an end, and we crossed that threshold. The threshold that, well, you know, I guess it depends how you look at it in terms of the length of time this has been going on. But I know I've been waiting for a long time for this shift to get underway, and it has been underway. You know, the age of Aquarius, the golden age, the higher consciousness, all that kind of stuff that we've been anticipating for a long time. In some circles, you might look in terms of 200,000 years. In other circles, you might be looking in terms of 26,000 years. That's been the progression of this last little sprout that brought us to today, brought us to 2012 when we crossed that threshold. You know, we're going to use my clock. I have a clock here that I took the battery out so that it would be on 12 o'clock because when I was setting up here to do this video, I said, oh my God, look, it's almost 12 o'clock, because I was going to use the clock as for this demonstration that I'm going to show you right now. So I took the battery out so it's not moving, so I wouldn't have to wait another 12 hours to tape this video. But, you know, if you imagine looking at this clock. Where is it? Right here. Imagine looking at this clock for an hour. A whole hour, just sitting there watching the seconds tick, 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 tick. By the end of that hour, you might be pretty frustrated. So that's kind of like the way a lot of us are feeling right now. Let's say that we used a figure of 60,000 years so that it would match up with the 60 minutes or the 60 seconds per minute and that whole thing. Well, once we reach, it goes around for a whole hour, and then once we reach this point here, which we reached right now, 2012, the energy starts to shift. It's a new hour, a new dawn, a new beginning, a new world. So that's some of the stuff that we're going to be talking about because it's different than a lot of the energies that we've been used to for 26,000 years or 60,000 years, or, you know, even in this lifetime for several decades, I've been pretty anxious about this whole revelation, this whole awakening idea. So let me give you a little bit, I'll continue on the tour that I said in my last video. You already know that I like suns and moons and planets and anything astrological. Here's my sun and moon and star. This is one of my favorite ones. And here's a butterfly, which I created. And as you can see, it has rainbow colors on there. So rainbows are another things we're going to be talking about. Probably not so much the ones that are in the sky, but the ones that are in our hearts, you know, the rainbows of love and rainbows of hope, rainbows of joy, those kind of rainbows. So we'll be talking about stuff like that. But this particular rainbow butterfly represents me a lot because actually, you know, there are a lot of animals in this room that represent me in many ways, and lots of people who are watching too, because they're symbols of transformation. Butterfly, right? Transforming from the caterpillar to the butterfly with wings. The snake shedding its skin, transformation. So, transformation. That's another big theme that's on my list. So this butterfly is also probably the gayest butterfly going. And I can resonate with that too. So I have pictures of various people in my life that I'm going to tell you about. Here's some artwork that was done by my granddaughters, Ariana and Cosette. It's a wall hanging, but I have it on this table over here that I made, which is this huge block of wood from Vermont that a friend of mine had shipped during COVID. Anyway, it's one of my favorite pieces. That comes from my friend Chris, who I've known for, probably about 20 years now. We go out to dinner once in a while together. I don't see Chris too much. She's my sister's next door neighbor, but whenever I do see her, you know, we have a chance to catch up on things, and she likes me enough that she gives me lots of things just because she likes giving me things, and I appreciate the things that she gives me, and I let her know that, and I send pictures. A lot of the stuff in here, this carpeting was from Chris. This carpeting was from Chris. I have other things on the walls in here that have been given to me by her. She's had, like yard sales, and I said, "Oh, Chris, can I have that?" Yeah, sure, no problem. So, anyway, my granddaughters, we went to the beach this weekend over in Jamestown, which is right near Newport, and so we're out on this lawn at Beavertail, which is a lighthouse, and the bunnies hopping all over the lawn. So they really had a lot of fun with them. Ariana and Cosette recently got some bunnies at home. And there's a white one called Snow, and sort of a carrot root sort of color one named Butternut. So, you know, it's that kind of color. And that's the female. And so anyway, you know, a few weeks ago when I first went over to see them, they're like these little things like this. And then the next week I went over, and they're like twice as big. And then the next time, whenever that was that I went over, they're twice as big again. So I'm going there tomorrow. Tomorrow's my birthday. And so I'm going there for dinner. And it's the first pets that they ever have. Because my son was always resistant to getting pets. He's had allergies to dogs and stuff like that. But anyway, they tried out these bunnies. They work out real nice for him. He lays down and puts them on his neck, and they just snuggle up there like a cat. So they're enjoying those a real lot. Some of the other items that I just want to show you quickly here are some sculptures that I made. These are petrified stumps that I get out of the pond. I go around on my kayak and I pick up stumps. So I make little creations like this. This guy I named Aldo. And, I've only known one person named Aldo. It was many, many decades ago. I didn't really know him that well, but for some reason, this guy struck me as an Aldo. See, he looks like he's kind of flying there too. And Aldo was used to fly with, take little pills and he'd fly around. Anyway, this guy reminded me of Aldo, so I named him Aldo. And if your name is Aldo, nothing personal, I love you just as much as I love my own Aldo. This one here is named Aurora. That's one big. That's the base of a three-stemmed. Or maybe that's I don't know what part that is, but anyway, there's three portions of it. This was all buried underwater, and I dig them out, I clean them up, I debug them, then clean them up, and create them into something. I got a couple more over here. This guy here, this one is created from two different pieces. There's this part right here and this part right here, and I put them together. This guy doesn't have a name yet, so if you think of one, if you have a suggestion, you can let me know. Oh, and I have this sculpture, which is the shape of a tree. It's about the same height as I am, and you can see this hearts growing there. I named this one Love Grows. There's a little baby heart growing on the end over here. So that's some of the fun things that I like to do. And here, there's a whole bunch of pictures that I'm not going to show you, but I will show you one that I talked about on that last video, and it's a picture of my husband and I, Sid, on our wedding day. If you weren't with me for that little introduction, I'll just tell you quickly that Sid and I met just before the turn of the millennium, and Sid had been together with someone for 31 years who had recently passed away the year before. So he was going through a transition. We met at a place called the Mirror Bar, and we fell in love while staring at each other in the mirror, and we moved in together that same night. We were together ever since for 17 years until Sid passed away from cancer in 2015. But, you know, he's still here. My sister, there's a picture of my sister. She was just talking to Sid recently, because I told you about this too, you know, Sid communicating with the dead. And we've had so many experiences with that kind of stuff. And Sid brought, you know, consolation to many, many people over the years. So one of the other picture, another picture right here is my family, my birth family, my parents, my grandparents, aunts, uncles, stuff like that. That's a Thanksgiving meal. And so at Sid and my wedding, that was on August 3rd. Of 2013, because on August 1st of 2013 is when the Same-Sex Marriage Act went into effect in Rhode Island, and a couple of days later we got married at a backyard wedding, a Native American ceremony at my sister's house. My sister, the same sister is right there, who, by the way, has been practicing on me with her hair cutting skills. So, and I forgive her. But, you know, the worst possible situation that could actually occur is that it'll grow out. It'll grow back. Anyway, I kind of like it. You know, it's a little different on each side, as you can tell. So we'll see how that grows in. But anyway, I appreciate her efforts. And so I was telling you about, at our wedding. So Sid all of a sudden says, "Oh, they're all here." And I said, "Whoa, what are you talking about?" And he's looking up at the sky and he's saying, "Man, there's so many of them. I couldn't even tell you. I couldn't even begin to count them. But there's a big bunch." He said, "It's your whole family, and they're singing, and he said they have drinks and singing hail the gang's all here," which is hail the gang's all here. That's a song that they used to sing. You know, we'd have summer outings and stuff like that when they got together. It was fun time. So anyway, they were all up there celebrating, which is why I know that you know, they're with me all the time. The same with Sid. Sid was talking to my sister the other day because, you know, he used to talk to spirits on the other side when he was here, and now that he's there, he talks to spirits. We're spirits too here. So he's talking to my sister the other day about Mrs. C. And Mrs. C was one of my mother-in-laws along the way. She was my son's mother's mother. And she passed away a number of years ago. But anyway, they were talking about her, and so Connie says to him, geez, I didn't think you ever met Mrs. C when you were here. And he said, no, I didn't. He said, but things are different here. We remember things in a different way than you remember things on Earth. So he said, we remember each other even though we never actually met each other while we were on the planet, which I thought was kind of interesting. We had so many experiences, sometimes it was a fun kind of arrangement, like, because Spirit would always kind of let you know, give you some kind of a clue for the person that you're speaking to, who's in shock to begin with when you're telling you're talking to somebody on the other side. But they kind of give you something that you can relate to, like, the night after Sid and I moved in together, and the first day I was living at that. I was just moving into one of my father's houses on the beach, and so Sid says to me, "Oh, your mother is here, and she says to let you know that she loves you, and she wants to know if you remember the boxes." And I said, "The boxes? Of course I remember the boxes, because we were actually standing in the same room where the boxes happened on my 11th birthday. And I was getting my very first wristwatch that didn't have a Mickey Mouse on it. But there was this big, huge box wrapped up on the dining room table. And when I opened up that box, there was another box, and then another box, and another box, and another box, and another box, until it finally got down to the watch. So how could I forget that, the story about the boxes? But that was her way of letting me know, yes, it's me. Yes, this is real. And so Sid used to do that with everybody else. We met people under all kinds of circumstances. One time we're taking a walk around my sister's neighborhood, and all of a sudden he goes marching up to somebody's front door, right? And he's knocking on the door, and the guy comes out, and Sid tells him, "Hey, your father says you need to cut down on the drinking." And the guy says, "What?" He said, "Yes, your father, the man that gave you that truck right there that's sitting in your driveway. He says you're ruining your life, and he doesn't want you ruining your life like he ruined his. And stop drinking." And so we have encounters like that. And then another time we'd be at the casino, right? And so he's sitting there playing a slot machine, and there's this girl sitting next to him, and all of a sudden he says to her, "Your mother says, stop making those damn square cookies." And the girl freaks out. She said, "What do you mean? How do you know my mother? My mother passed away." She says, "I know. I'm talking to her now." And she's saying, stop making the square cookies. Because apparently this girl was too lazy to scoop out round cookies. So she just took all the batter, shoved it in a baking sheet, a baking tray, and then cut them up afterwards. So anyway, that was her mother's way of letting her know that was her. Anyway, I have lots of those kind of stories too, and so Sid sends information from there to here across the veil. And I was talking to my sister about this the other day, and I mentioned something about the veil, and she said, "What are you talking about?" And it didn't even occur to me, because I've been like esoteric since the day I was born, and metaphysical since I was 2 years old. And of course I'm exaggerating, but all of that kind of stuff is second nature for me. I've been exposed to it a lot. I know a lot of people that are into all that kind of stuff, and listening to the channelings, and reading the books, and watching the videos and stuff like that I've been doing my whole life. So I resonate with it. It's part of my belief system. And so anyway, what were we talking about? Oh, yeah, talking to people on the other side. So I have a lot of stories about that. And Sid sends messages here now like he never met my mother before when he lived on this planet. I just told you about that. The first time he met her was the day after he first met me, and she was on the other side. But he said they hang out together now. They have a great time. She is wearing fingernail polish, because Sid used to wear fingernail polish once in a while. Sometimes he'd paint one finger, sometimes he'd paint 20, 10 toes, 10 fingers, all different colors. He'd do all kinds of very creative things. And so anyway, now he's got my mother wearing fingernail polish, and she's never worn fingernail polish a day in her life when she was on this planet. So we get a lot of that kind of information too. And if I hear anything good, I'll be sure to let you know, especially if it has anything to do with the the shift, which is happening. So I'm going to slide over this way a little bit, because before I end, I really, I'm not going to keep you here for a couple of hours. In fact, I see that I've already gone on and on. I have so much more to say, but I'm not going to drag this on forever. I want to talk about my tapestry here, which says "Peace on Earth." I don't know why it comes out backwards on there. I've seen that on some other videos, and I'm sure there's some way to fix it. Although I'm not all that way concerned about it. But the reason I'm over here is to show you, sorry about that, I want to show you my monks, and there's one posted on either side of the tapestry. But they're hand carved, they're very different, they look a lot like each other, but they're not a lot like each other because they're individuals. And so they kind of, for me, that represents the old world and the new world, because on the surface they both look exactly alike, but they're really very different. Anyway, this Peace on Earth is the same thing as, is synonymous with New World. So that's something else that I plan on discussing a lot about. And so I hope to see you again. And of course, if you subscribe, it makes it even easier for you to see me again. But I'm also easy to find because I already trained you. Oh, I got to show you this. One last thing before I go. This is it. Last thing. I went to the beach yesterday, and I was looking at the video that was the previous video to this one. I'm talking about how I picked the name Ray of Sunshine, and I wasn't really sure if I was going to keep it or not, but I kind of resonate with it, and I like it a lot, and it's easy for you to remember. And then as I'm listening to that, as I'm walking along the beach listening to that, I find this thing bobbing in the water, and I walked right past it. I said, it didn't even occur. And then all of a sudden, I stopped, and something said, wait a minute, you want to grab that? And I did, and I went to grab it. And look what it has on it. So, that was kind of like my answer to that whole thing about, is Ray of Sunshine a good choice? Don't you see the similarities? Right? Don't we look alike? So, Ray of Sunshine is what I chose, and I'm sticking with it. Anyway, I hope to see you again another time, and in the meanwhile, I'm going to give you a challenge to do something different, and I'm going to talk about this a lot too, because doing something different is what we need to be doing in this new world energy, to discover something different about ourselves. And that's why I'm doing this. That's why I'm making this video. I have never made I did my first video, which in a few seconds you're going to see a little box on the side of my head. It's called Why Me, and it was started off as a little bit of a different theme than with this channel, but it became part of this channel. So that's my pilot video, and you want to go check that out. That'll tell you a lot more stuff about me, some kind of shocking stuff. I think the whole thing will be a revelation for you. You're going to enjoy it. So that's going to be popping up on the side of my head. And my challenge for you for doing something different is to send this video, send it to people that you like, send it to people that you think will benefit from meeting me and hearing what I have to talk about. But also send it to somebody that you wouldn't normally send it to. Maybe even send it to somebody who's not exactly your favorite person. Maybe somebody that I don't know, you just don't jive for whatever reason. But we're in the energy of change, and as far as I'm concerned, you can never stop learning enough, and I think especially right now in this new energy, in this new world, change is the name of the game. So I'll see you next time, and in the meanwhile, create you. Namaste.